fucking...
Really, we could just give it 3, 2, 1 and go, you know? But,
Hello, everybody!
now he's dying.
And welcome to the Left on the Web podcast, where we talk to you guys about what's on our minds from this week. Before we get started, I'm Lil Webb, or Spartan Chief 905.
I'm Lefty, or shooting_Lefty.
And if you want to support the channel, go follow at Left on the Web podcast on Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. All the links are down below for your convenience. If you want the potential to have any of your questions answered live at the end of this stream, then go ahead and go to Twitter, use the hashtag Left on the Web podcast, and during the last 10-ish minutes of the stream, we'll answer some.
And the only other thing I want to add is if it is your first time being at one of the live podcasts, we're not ignoring you. Disclaimer, you know, we love you. But at the same time, we're not going to talk to you until the end. Because we want the podcast to flow like if you're just listening on Spotify, how it just kind of flows together, right?
Yeah, like how
keep it that way.
How the professionals do it, you know? We're trying to be...
you know?
The start of this was definitely professional. We're trying...
And definitely not scripted.
No.
That was off the top of the brain, you know?
That's why it took me so long to say it.
I don't have a document in front of me, wide open, that says, hey, say this when he says this.
Yes. Because that would be something that people that actually plan shit do, and we don't do that.
And we don't plan a fucking thing.
No, we don't plan. We don't plan anything. But
no, for real, we're not ignoring you guys. We just want to, we're gonna have to do this for a couple episodes until everybody kind of gets the gist of it, because we do stream it live, or until we just decide, you know what, fuck it. People want to try to talk to us, they can. We'll talk to them later.
Yeah, well,
but you know, I'm a people pleaser, so
yeah. So, like we said, hashtag Left on the Web podcast on Twitter, and at the end of this episode, towards the last 10-ish minutes, we'll head on over there. We'll answer a couple questions.
Yeah, and what he means for you knuckleheads out there that don't know what he means is when you write your tweet, hey, Lefty, why the fuck is your head so big? Hashtag Left on the Web podcast. I'll see your question.
Yes. At Left on the Web podcast, hashtag Left on the Web podcast.
Yeah, that works too.
All of them.
And then follow that.
Yeah, so
and then
at us, hashtag us.
We might have to get together and come give you a kiss.
It's possible.
It's probably never going to happen, but if that entices you. Why am I holding a pen? So I think I'm going to sign some documents or something.
Shit.
Anyway, now that we're past the unscripted segment of the podcast, we're going to move on to the fully just our fucking brains, okay?
So we should leave now?
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
I'll
see it. I'll see it.
Fuck.
That went a little smoother than I thought it was going to.
So, on today's podcast, we're going to talk about a few things, okay?
So, riddle me this.
I'm riddling?
What is a phobia to you?
So, I don't think of a phobia as just like something that I'm just scared of it. I can deal with it, but I'm scared of it. No, phobia is like, I don't want that fucking thing anywhere in my sight. I'm terrified.
Okay.
How do you view a phobia?
Me via phobia?
How do you view a phobia?
Oh, I thought you said I have uvia-phobia. And I was like, so does that mean that you're scared of me?
You're scared of the sun because you have UV phobia?
Oh my god! That's why my blinds are closed. So I view a phobia as anything you're extremely or overly scared of, right? Not just, oh no, I'm scared of this or I'm scared of that. It's,
oh my god, the fly is close to me.
Oh my god. Like, yeah. You're scared of it. You're not detrimentally scared of it. Or I'm sorry, you're more detrimentally scared of it than you are clinically.
Okay, he's trying to use big words. That's going to piss me off.
He's not very good with big words.
Are you kidding me? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yep.
Okay?
What does that word even mean?
It means go fuck yourself.
Fuck, he's right. That's why we're age restricted.
So, you want to know? Okay, so random tangent here, because we made a joke about the supercalifragilistic blah 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 blah, word that we all said as a kid. That
You can't spell
for
it?
some reason it's actually isn't a fucking dictionary.
I thought it wasn't a
Doesn't make
dictionary.
any sense. Huh?
I thought it wasn't a dictionary.
I swear to you, as a kid, I saw it in a dictionary. Anyway, but made up or words that sound made up but are actual real words, like flossy, nosy, nihilipilification. That's a real word.
What's the definition of that word?
I don't. Okay, here I'm gonna try to fucking remember how to spell it. Give me a second.
I'm giving you a second.
Oh my god! I'm a genius.
I'm so proud of you.
If I could show you my screen, I would.
Oh, okay.
It means the action or habit of estimating something as worthless.
As worthless?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that just...
The action or habit of estimating something as worthless is flossy, nosy, nihilipilification.
You learn something new every fucking day, I guess.
I learned it in 9th grade, bro, and it blew my mind.
And you still remember it?
Yeah, it's one of those things that just sticks with you. It's embedded. It's burned into my mind. I see that word everywhere.
Huh.
I look at a stop sign, it says flossy, nosy, nihilipilification.
In red? Squeeze titties on passengers. Okay.
But no, it's that is just something that blows my mind.
Yeah, no, that's a very big word, and I'm proud of you.
I usually speak with bigger words than I write with.
That's bigger than all 5 words you had in the intro combined.
You're right.
I'm proud. So
You should be.
So, since we're on the topic of phobias, I want you to give me your 100% absolute, can't even fucking talk about it, scared piss your pants phobia. What are you scared of? The whole point is I want you to piss your pants on stream.
I'm not going to piss my pants. But and everyone that knows me, whether it be from, this area, that area, this area, that area, Twitch, Twitter, whatever, knows I cannot stand spiders. They freak me the fuck out.
Like the one on the wall behind you?
Okay. Shut up.
It's crawling right behind you, buddy.
But see, the reason he likes to make this joke is because he wants to send me a live spider, and I'm not going to know it's coming. But the thing is, if he does that, I'm liable to burn my house down, because my dad on stream one time sent me a picture of a spider, and it was one of those when you opened it, the picture opened up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I literally threw my phone across the room because it scared me so bad.
Jesus. You're like one of those people that if you use a TikTok filter that's just, the spider crawling around the screen and then it disappears and then it jumps at you. Would that scare you?
See, that one, I kind of know it's coming because I've been on TikTok. The first time I saw it, I dropped my phone. It freaked me out. I was the filters where you can tell it's fake doesn't really bug me, but this picture was so crystal clear, and it was one of those that had a transparent background, so it was just the spider. And I was like, I'm going to die right now.
Oh. It's just pure spider.
But, I have a couple of, things. But, see, I think my only phobia is arachnophobia.
Really? So, okay.
But, there's other things that I'm scared of, but I can deal with it, in a sense.
Okay, then what's one of your lesser fears? Not necessarily a phobia, but a fear.
Heights, for sure.
Okay, what about heights? Is it just being up high? Is it the feeling, the butterflies you get when you're falling?
So I sometimes get a little dizzy if I'm up too high.
Okay.
Because I'm oh god, I'm really high, and then I start to get to that point where I'm oh. But I can ride most roller coasters and things that are really when we went to Worlds of Fun, for example, last year. There's a roller coaster there that's 207 foot first drop.
Okay.
Really fucking high. You can see it from miles away.
Yeah.
So if I'm on the side of the coaster that has the stairs for the maintenance people,
mm-hmm.
I'm still a little oh, this is kind of sketchy, but I'm usually hey, there's a rail there, I'm safe.
Okay.
I wasn't on that side. I was on the side that just had the jutting of the metal piece the main rail's attached to sticking out, and I could see straight down.
Oh.
And so I was like, I'm ready for this hill to be over. But after that hill, I'm completely fine. Like, you know, when you're like going through a regular part of the roller coaster, there's nothing on either side. But you're having so much fun, your adrenaline's so high that you don't even think about it.
Right.
For me, anyway. I know there are some people that terrifies them completely. But like that slow climb where I'm like, I could fall off of this at any moment. It may not even be heights itself. It may be just fear of falling. And I'm like, I could splat. But then it like, I rode all the other roller coasters, no issue. But when we went on the really big, tall thing that they have there, it's a big like swing, you know, that just goes in circles. This thing's 310 foot tall.
310.
And they had to shut it down earlier in the day because the winds up at that high were, if it's over like 8 miles an hour, they usually don't run it because the chairs can clack together.
Right.
Or something like that. I don't know if it's exactly that number, but like, you know, if it gets too fast, it's like you'll break your legs.
Yeah, bad idea.
Well, we caught it when it was back up and running, and we went up top. And the first thing they do is they bring you all the way up, real slow like, and they kind of sit you there for a second, and then it engages to spin. Well, when we were sat there, I could feel the wind up there, and felt like I was going to throw up. That is the one time that I almost buried my face in Morgan's shoulder because I was scared.
Oh.
And she's having a grand old time, and the thing's spinning, and I'm just like locked on the handles, like white knuckling because I am just literally about to vomit. We got off of it. I was proud of myself for doing it, but I was like, I'm never going on it again.
So, one of the very few times I've ever actually been on a roller coaster, because I don't necessarily have a fear of heights, but I don't like the butterfly feeling of going down or of falling, if that makes sense. Like everything in your stomach kind of gets
like
lifted
the stomach
up.
in your throat.
Yeah, the stomach to your throat. I don't like that. But like back when I think it was 8th grade, we went to Kennywood in high school, or I'm sorry, we went to Kennywood in 8th grade, and a couple of my friends pushed me to go, so I went. Well, me being the technical fixer-upper DIY kind of guy, I may or may not have potentially had a bolt in my pocket at the time. So we're going up. I don't remember what ride it was. We're going up the roller coaster. You're
not about to tell me you shut a ride down for the day, are you?
No. But I did make 6 people piss their fucking pants. So the bolt itself was about as long as this pen, right? It was a 1/2 inch by 13 bolt. If you know that, you probably don't know. But if you know what that size of bolt is, that's what the size of the bolt is.
Dude, I'm a man. I know exactly what that bolt looks like. I could draw you a picture right now, but I won't.
I bet you won't. So I pulled that out of my pocket, and I acted like I was leaning down to grab something, and I hold it up. It was the wooden roller coaster, if you know which one that is.
I know of wooden roller coasters, and I know how scary and like easily they break down.
Yeah,
so.
It was a wooden roller coaster that we were going up a hill. So I leaned down and I picked it up off the floor, and I said, "Hey guys, does this look important to you?" And they all just kind of said, "Where the fuck did you find that?" We went down the hill as I was holding my stomach because I was gonna throw up, but I scared the shit out of 6 people. And that made my day.
I think I could help you kind of, I don't know if it'll help you, but like for me, when I like to avoid that, like don't get me wrong, I kind of enjoy the butterfly feeling, but like one way I've kind of found to like nullify it, not completely get rid of it, but like to like nullify it just a little bit, like numb it out, is I tense my stomach. Like I flex my abs so hard. So I'm focused more on like the contraction of my muscle than I am the feeling of my stomach going in my throat.
Okay.
So, because you know, eventually we're going to go on a roller coaster, whether you like it or not.
I have to. It's not an option, which I get, and I
will.
Because...
I'll make it easy on you. We'll just go to the one at the Santa Monica Pier. It's real easy. There's.
So you know what the weird shit is? I can't do. I think it's just me not being able, or me being able to see it, Because I can do Space Mountain no problem. And Space Mountain, like, have you ever seen Space Mountain with the lights on? There's so many fucking steep drops and shit. Like, it's unreal what you go through in the dark when you can actually see it.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain. You could probably Google pictures of Space Mountain lit up.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
But
didn't they just close it and convert it into something else?
I think so. I'm not sure. That's not something.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. Space Mountain, one of the best roller coasters in the world. All right. Anyway, yeah, I don't like heights or the feeling, all the G's of going down. You know.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you'd never go skydiving?
I would attempt skydiving because I know obviously I'm gonna be fucking buddy up against somebody's wiener, but I know that in the end, if I die, I don't have to go parachuting again. I don't have to go skydiving again. If I don't, and I like it, then I'll go again.
Or just the fact that you have that, like, because really, like, the feeling of it, I feel like it's only going to happen, like, at its peak, maybe 1-2 times. Because, like, you're never going to have that, like, no, I'm saying that fully euphoric, I mean, I guess adrenaline, but also just, like, I'm now falling rapidly, and you have no expectations, you know?
Right.
Because it's your first time doing it. I feel like you're never going to, that's like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Like, yeah, you can skydive over and over and over again, and it's still going to be just as fun in the sense of I'm flying through the air, which is really cool, but you're not going to have that, like, you're going to have expectations at that point. So you're going to kind of know what's coming. Whereas you're doing it for the first time, you're like, when the fuck's this guy going to pull the chute? When am I going to, you know, are we going to slow down? Are we going to float? Like, you have no expectation. So it's like everything's new and like.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I think that the feeling would still kind of stay because it stayed the same throughout every roller coaster I've ever been on. I didn't piss him off, but I upset T-Webb because my little brother, littlest Webb, became his roller coaster buddy and I wasn't. And I was the eldest, so I should have been.
Right.
But Matt, my little brother, likes roller coasters more than I do.
Well, yeah.
Which is funny because he doesn't like anything.
There's just like one little size difference between you guys, you know?
Yeah, I'm like 250 pounds and he's 90.
No, there's one size difference when it matters.
Oh, I gotcha. He's almost taller than me. I get it.
Okay, well, we found out a couple of my phobias, right? Spiders, can't stand them. He wants to abuse me because he's my friend, and that's what friends do. He wants to engage in mental warfare, which is not okay. Oh, another one. Morgan seems to think that I might be a little bit claustrophobic.
A little?
Because I generally don't like small spaces.
I would say you are claustrophobic, my guy.
Why would you say this?
So, I can't remember where we were. It was when I was down there. You didn't want to be in the back seat or something between two of us. You had to sit in the front because if you didn't, you felt big words are hard.
This is why we don't use them. Like confined to a small space?
Yes! Why couldn't I say confined?
So in a car, I can't sit in the back seat because I will get motion sick.
Okay.
Because like for some reason, the way they sit those back seats, the little tilt that they do.
So not every car has that little tilt.
Too long, right? But like SUVs, I'm fine in the back seat. But my mother's car specifically, I cannot sit back there for more than 30 minutes, or I will start to get nauseous.
Oh, okay.
It's very weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, give me some of your phobias.
So, do you want one of my smaller phobias?
I want to know your most absolute, like, I'm going to have a heart attack fear.
So, the biggest fear I have, like, my utmost worst fear, right, is losing the people I care about.
Right.
And that's not just, like, dying naturally or whatever. I get that. Death happens. Death is natural, right?
Right.
Everyone's going to die at some point. And we can't just freeze everybody because that's going to be expensive.
Mm.
But the fear of losing the people I love and care about most, I guess it's more of a fear of if I could have done something to save them and I can't, or I didn't.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's
Let's
what I
say,
fear
'cause,
the
like,
most.
The fear of losing someone in like a tragic way, or a way that you could have prevented. I feel like everyone's got that one. I don't know one person that doesn't fear of losing someone, but I mean that makes sense. Like in the sense that you put it, like you want to, like, if there was something you could have done
And that's
and
why,
weren't able to do.
yeah, that's why, like, for the most part, I'll carry a gun or I'll carry a knife because I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Like, I will, no matter where I am, unless I physically cannot bring it in with me, I will always have a knife.
Right.
Most of the time, I don't carry a gun. If I know that I'm going to a sketchy place or somewhere that like the south side of Youngstown, if I'm going somewhere like that, obviously I'm going to have it. I don't take it with me every day because I don't feel like I need a gun every day. Mind you, I
Right.
am pro 2A all the way, 100%. But I personally don't feel like I need to carry it every day. That's
Right.
why I always carry a knife, because a knife will never run out of bullets. Now, there's a big argument between that, how a knife can't do this or a knife can't do that, whatever. I have been in more situations where a knife has helped me more than a gun would have. Because the 21-foot rule, I don't know if you know what the 21-foot rule is. So, if your weapon is holstered, if your gun is holstered, right, and somebody with a knife or, say, a fucking machete or a sword or whatever is within 21 feet of you, in order to draw, rack, aim, and fire your weapon, you need at least 21 feet in order to get it. That's why I'll usually carry chambered, because that's...
But what about if Usain Bolt's running at you?
You're fucked. Don't just die. Just let him kill you. You're fucked. 100%.
He's just charging at you, giant machete, Rambo style. Just
I would be like, take me to church. Take me to church. But yeah, no, that's why I carry most of the stuff that I carry on me. Like, I'll carry a small first aid kit, and I'll carry this, that, and the other. It just depends on the day. You
take a lot of preventative measures.
I do, and I've taken one self-defense class outside of the military, and I have my military training. I've taken down a 300-pound man before in basic training. So it was... I've learned a lot. I know how to defend myself, and I could defend other people if I need to. That's, like, the biggest thing I talked about in school when all the school shootings were happening with my group of friends was, if there was a school shooter, I'm not going to be one of those kids that just sits in the classroom and does nothing. I would have been, and I still would, run towards the gunfire and try to stop it. Because if I could put myself between the shooter and, say, the kindergartners, because I know that school, like, all of our schools were attached. We were 3 schools, mm-hmm. High school, middle school, and elementary school, attached. I knew that if I could do something to prevent him from getting to those kids, I would rather lose my life and save theirs, knowing that they're going to be okay.
Right.
And that's every time we had... Like, I know everyone knew when the lockdowns were coming, like when we were doing the drills and stuff. But there were a couple times where there was, like, a prisoner that escaped from wherever, one of the mental institutions, and they locked down everybody. Those were some of the times where, like, me and my buddies, because I always had a small group of friends in every class so that we were all, like, on the same page with. As soon as those specific lockdowns happened, I was like, all right, if I hear anything, I'm going. I'm not sitting in this room. I'm going to do something. And they were all with me because they all felt the same way I did, which is why they were my friends.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I'm still that way. If there's a shooter anywhere, regardless of whether it's in a school or whatever, if I'm nearby and I could potentially do something to stop it, I'm going to. That's why I try to keep myself prepared.
Right. And it's not necessarily like be a hero mentality. It's like, I'm trying to prevent something.
Yeah, I'm trying to prevent...
If I can. Not every situation I'm going to go running head first, but if I can do something, I'm going.
If I know I can do something, I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to stand by idly or hide, or that's not who I am. That's
Right.
not who I've ever been. I'm going to try and do something.
So outside of, losing those you care about, like do you have like any like fears of like animals or
so
like Brooke AB is scared of fruit.
So ironically enough, being in the military, I don't like needles. And they forcibly poke you with needles whenever they want to.
And in some cases forcibly make you poke others with needles.
Yes. Except I'm okay with being the poker. I'm not okay with being the pokey. Like,
You're okay with being the pokey when I'm around.
Well, yeah, but that's a different needle. It's smaller, it's thinner.
Oh. I thought it was the same size. Sorry.
No. I've taken bigger. Anyway.
No, needles can be freaky. Like, here recently, so I've never been one to, like, watching scary movies or, like, in person seeing blood. It's never really freaked me out.
Okay.
But this last year I was donating plasma and I almost passed out. And, like, now when I see someone, like, my dad gets stuck with an IV, I have to look away or I get, like, woozy. And I don't know if it's the needle going in the skin or if it's the blood.
Or if
it's never used to bother me. Like, when I had, like, my surgery on my hand and stuff, I watched them put my IV in. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Now I'm like, oh, what is that?
Right. Maybe it was a, I don't know, kind of like a, it happened to me, now I don't like it thing.
I don't know. It's just something I randomly thought about because, like, the other day I was watching my dad get an IV.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
But no, that's about it. I can kind of stand heights, and I can, for the most part, stand needles. It's one of my smaller fears. I'm not necessarily...
You would prefer to stay away from them.
Yeah, if I don't have to get poked, I don't want to. Like, for the COVID... I know this is a big fucking topic or whatever, but for the COVID shot, I almost refused to get it. I couldn't necessarily refuse because that was straight discharge. A lot of people there's a big lawsuit going on for the dishonorable discharges that happened. Everyone that took the religious route and the medical discharge route for not being able to get it some of them were discharged dishonorably, the rest were just general discharge. General discharges are bad. Dishonorable discharge is fucking awful. So there's this big lawsuit going on because they lawfully could not discharge anybody who refused religiously.
Right.
And it was the Secretary of Defense released this one article. Don't quote me on this. I'm paraphrasing everything. She released this article saying that every religious exemption will be looked at on an individual base or somewhere around those lines. And instead of that being an individual case, now, say I put in for a religious exemption, my buddy puts in for a religious exemption, everybody who puts in for it is automatically blanket denied, right? So they're immediately denied their religious exemption, even though it is against their religion to get that shot or to get any shots or vaccines or whatever. And that's the same across all of the uniformed services, right? The uniformed forces, whatever the fuck we're called. And the only individual cases that have actually been looked at are those who have actually sued. So there was an entire team of Navy SEALs that sued because it was against their religion and it was against their religious rights and their First Amendment rights, religious freedom. Yeah, somewhere.
You're asking the wrong person. I generally stay out of a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, an entire group of Navy SEALs sued. They won. God damn it, motherfucking son of a bitch.
And here we are with technical difficulties.
An entire group of Navy... Fucking Christ, on it. Oh, Jesus Christ.
You always got to plan for the unforeseen circumstances.
Turn that off. Activate you. Alright. Maybe? Probably. Ha! Look at that. I did it.
Yeah, brother.
Alright,
Okay.
where was I?
We're just going to jump to the next thing.
Alright, I like it. Let's go.
What are some of the things that just really grind your gears? Like big pet peeves?
Alright, so I'm usually a laid back guy, right? I'm usually pretty chill. I'm usually alright. And then people start fucking cutting me off in the middle of a conversation. Once or twice is fine. I get it. You're excited about whatever you're talking about. And then it happens a fifth and a sixth and a seventh and an eighth, and I'm ready to punch you in the face.
All right.
Yeah, that's...
Now I know how he feels about me. Okay.
There are certain people, you are included in this, that I can stand it from, that I can handle, because that's just who you are. You like putting your input in, and that's fine. You're my friend. You're one of my closest friends, so I'll accept it.
Yeah.
But somebody I don't like, fucking a random Chad or a random Karen that just pops in out of nowhere and starts giving her 2 cents. I'm a lady for 5 minutes so I can bitch slap the fuck out you. So I can do that, right? This is 2023, I can do that?
It's up for debate at this point.
Is it?
But I get it. I get yelled at by Morgan all the time for cutting her off on a regular basis. I don't mean to, but my freaking ADHD brain is just like, you have to say this right now or you're not going to get a chance.
Right.
And I'm like...
Bleh.
I'm like, hey man, this thing came to my mind and I may totally change the subject, but, my idea is better than yours.
Yes.
I promise I'm not an asshole, but anyone that's ever had a conversation with me would know that there are times where I will either jump in the middle of your sentence or, completely interrupt. And I don't mean to. I don't do it on purpose. I'm not doing it to be rude. My brain is just like, you have to speak now. You can't hold this in any longer. And it just word vomit. And I'm sorry. So if I've ever done it to you, I'm sorry. I know I've done it to you. I'm saying anyone listening,
everyone watching,
any friends of mine, I am sorry.
I don't
mean to. It's something I'm trying to work on. As you can see here, I'm trying to wait till he finishes his sentence.
Words
Frozen reference, if anyone got it.
Yeah, I got it. Haha. Ha ha ha.
Before I try to say something, and I'm sure you can see it on my face when I want to talk, I'm like, and then I pull it back. No, being interrupted sucks. I totally get that one. Do you have multiple pet peeves, or did I completely interrupt your train of thought here?
So I do. Yes and no. I get that there are people with OCD and ADHD, and they can't. Not OCD, ADHD, and ADD, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you're sitting there and you're tapping or you're fidgeting. A lot of fidgeting when it's not necessary. I know you can't handle it or you can't control it, but we're sitting there. We're sitting there in a quiet.
Huh?
We're sitting there in a quiet space, and then all of a sudden, it's just the fucking. Where is it? It's just the. Or I hear those
One I'm really bad about.
So the pens don't bother me that much because I do it. That's something I do too. But back when fidget cubes and fidget toys, the new fidget toys were a thing. The click sound was the most annoying sound in the world. And
Lucky for you, I just shake tables because I bounce my leg.
Yeah, I do that too.
Man, I feel attacked. What's the next one? What else you got to talk shit about me on, huh?
Well, I don't mean to bring your driving into this, but Miss Grandma over here, slow driving pisses me off.
Do not drive like a grandma, okay?
You drove like a grandma when I was in the car.
You got to remember who else was in the car.
I know. Um,
If I drive even remotely at all any faster, my mother freaks out.
so anything less than the speed limit in the right lane, I'm gonna fucking rear end you. I'm ready to run you off the road, pissed off. Even worse, I'm going faster than you in the right lane, and you're in the left lane. Even worse.
That one is frustrating. I do understand that.
If there's a car in front of you and 2 cars behind you, they're the problem. If there's no one in front of you and 2 cars behind you, you're the problem.
You're the problem.
Yes.
But at the same time, like in society, it's become such a natural thing to drive, 3 to 5 miles an hour faster, and then you pull up on someone doing the speed limit, and then people become upset with them because they're not going fast enough. I'm not saying that's you, because you said if you're not doing at least the speed limit, I'm upset at you.
Right. So if I'm in the right lane and I'm doing 5 over and I come up behind you, right, I'm not going to get pissed off because you're doing the speed limit. That's all you, by all means. But I go to get in the left lane and I'm still doing 3 to 5 over, and this dumbass is doing 5 under in the left lane. Now I'm pissed off.
Yeah, right.
And it's not
just
immediate.
Road rage in general.
Yes,
has been something that's bothered me.
It's not immediate, right? It's all right. I've come up behind you. I know that you know I'm there. We're either gonna fix it, or I'm gonna fix it, and we don't want me to fix it, so you better fix it.
See, like you would hate pulling up behind me because, like, if someone pulls up behind me, I'm not saying this is something you do, but if like they flash their lights, they honk at me, or they get right on my ass, I'm petty and I will box you in on purpose.
Oh, dude, I'm the same way, but
there was just like a week or so ago, there was a guy that I was driving with Morgan, and he got all up on my ass and couldn't go around me because the car on my left.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got a little bit in front of that car, just enough to where he could think he could try to shoot the gap, but there was not enough space.
Right.
And I just held steady. I boxed him in. He couldn't move.
So I'll do that, but instead of me getting in front of them, I'll slow down so that way the car to my right or to my left looks like they're going faster than me, so they'll switch lanes, and then I'll just fucking floor it.
Yep, I do that as well. They don't get around me.
No, they'll never get around me.
No, See, the one from the other week that I was just telling you about. What got me angry at this person was, like, I can deal with someone riding my ass for a little while,
right?
But they were riding the car next to me's ass and honking at them and flashing their lights, and then they got behind me and started flashing their lights, and I was like, okay, you're just an asshole.
Yeah, no, buddy, you can go fuck yourself.
And so then I became the petty asshole myself.
So if somebody comes up and starts riding my ass, right, I'm gonna give them a minute to figure out what they're doing wrong and let them correct themselves. If they don't, I'll tap my brakes just enough for the lights to come on, but not to actually brake, and kind of give them a warning. All right, strike 1. Strike 2, lights again, just the lights, nothing more. I slow down a little bit, but I don't, like, I let the car naturally slow down. I don't hit the brakes to slow down. I'll tap the brakes for the lights to come on, and I'll naturally slow down just a hair, right? To kind of let them know that, hey, you're getting closer. This is a problem. And then 3 strikes is when I start fucking with you, because you now know that I know you're on my ass, and I'm pissed that you're on my ass. So I'm gonna piss you off because you're giving me a bad day, so I'm gonna make your bad day worse. If you're having a bad day.
I just don't understand, like, the constant hurry people are in. Like, I don't get it.
So
you go flying by me doing 90, but then I pull up next to you at the stoplight. We're both stuck here. What was the point?
Right. So I used to be one of these dicks, right? I would drive like a dick. I still kind of do, but I'm safer now because I have a kid, obviously. I used to street race. I would street race in my little shit box, and I'd win. A lot of those races I'd win because I would race traffic. I don't race track. So you would race with the flow of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And there were not illegal things that ever happened during these races. But a lot of things happened during these races, regardless of whether or not they were legal. None of it's on camera, so it's fine. I would drive like a dick then, and even just driving like to and from school or to and from work, I kind of drove like a dick. And I kind of learned that, all right, maybe I shouldn't do that, or I learned what I should and shouldn't do because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I pissed off a lot of people. But yeah, anyway, what are some of your gear grinders?
I can't stand mouth sounds.
What kind of mouth sounds can't you stand?
Like chewing things, especially gum. If you're smacking your gum or smacking your food. I have yelled at multiple people to chew with their mouth closed in my presence because I try to handle it, and like I can. It's one of those things that like I'll white knuckle and like, squeeze my hand so hard that it hurts, so that I'll focus on that versus the sound. But if we're at a dinner and it's 45 minutes of just, I can't do it. I will be polite the first time.
Say hey.
I'll say, hey, can you please chew with your mouth closed? Like that's just a sound that really gets under my skin.
Right.
And because it makes my skin crawl. I find it extremely disgusting. And then if it happens again, I usually try to be nice, but like a little more stern. And I'm like, hey man, please stop. Please chew with your mouth closed. And then if it happens, at another dinner, I'm screaming at you. Like, I can't do it. But if like it's a large dining area, like let's say you go to like Texas Roadhouse, it's loud in there. I'm not gonna hear you chew anyway.
Right.
But like if I invite you over and it's quiet in the house and we're having a nice dinner and you're just, I lose my shit, man. I'll usually either sit as far away from you as possible, or I'm going to beg and plead with you until I'm screaming at you to stop smacking your food.
Yeah, that's.
And so, like, here's a story about. I'm in my AP history test.
You made it.
Girl behind
AP?
me. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm not the brightest, but I'm not the dumbest either.
I believe you.
I had 28 on my ACT.
That's more than I got. I got an accumulative 14 on my ACT.
I went 20, 24, 28. I was on pace to get a 32 the next time.
See, I knew the ACT wasn't going to affect a damn thing I did in my future, so I didn't try.
Right. But anyway, I'm in my AP history class, and this girl behind me decided she was going to come in there and chew gum.
Ooh.
And she's like, not even 3 foot desk space behind me, right? She's got literally her table is up against my seat. And she's just smacking her gum. And it's like a specific rhythm. So it was like,
Ooh.
For a 3-hour test. And I'm just sitting there and like, I snapped a pencil at one point because I was trying so hard not to focus on it. And I'm like holding my pencil, shaking for the first like hour.
See,
and I'm like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, and I'm like trying to just lose myself in this test, but it's fucking a test, and I'm like, how do I imagine this war that's happening?
So, did you have more than one pencil?
Yes.
Or the ACT, they give you like 4 pencils, right? And if you need one, you just
they give you a few.
Yeah. So I would have broken one of those pencils, and casually and accidentally thrown it behind me.
See, you know me, I don't like conflict whatsoever. And so that's why I didn't turn around and say anything. Plus, I didn't want anyone to think I was trying to cheat on my test or anything.
Right.
And so I just like, it got to like the 2-hour mark, and that's when I snapped the pencil because I was like, I can't take it anymore. And so I at this point, I couldn't handle it. I bubbled C on everything, handed in my test, and walked out.
So I've heard that if you bubble C on everything, you'll get at least a 25. I should have done it. My buddy did it, and he got 26 accumulative.
Yeah. Well, this was just the AP test for college credit.
Okay, I thought you meant just
And
the
so,
straight
like,
ACTs.
I didn't even do the essay. I couldn't stay in there any longer. I literally bubbled C on like the last 10 answers, left the essay blank, and walked out.
Oof. How'd you do on that test?
I think I got a 2, and you need like a 3 to get the credit.
Oh, what the fuck? All because you didn't do the essay?
Yeah, pretty much. But it was awful. But like mouth sounds, I can't stand. I'm trying to think of some other ones. What are some things that really just annoy me?
If you can't think of anything,
Talking during movies, I can't stand it.
Oh, dude. People who bring their babies to the movie theater.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
But I understand if like you can't get a babysitter, but like
if you can't get it, don't go that day. Find another day to go. Don't take your infant child to a movie theater.
And like, don't get me wrong, like I might lean over at one part of the movie and go, "This is really cool." That's all you're gonna get from me the entire movie.
Yeah.
It's like little tiny comments, and it's usually during like either like the peak of the high point where like it's like when you get to the peak and it kind of calms down for a second, and everyone's like, "Oh my god," you're basking in that moment, or like one of the really low moments where it's like there's nothing happening. I'll go, "This will be good," and then I'll go back to what I was doing.
Right.
Like watching the movie. But someone that's like on their phone or talking a bunch during a movie, I'm like, why are you even here?
Right.
What's the point? You paid to watch this movie.
Not talk through it. If you want to talk through it, go buy the director's cut afterwards and watch that. No.
And or like my dad and I can be petty. We got a few teenagers, kicked out of a movie one time because they were, I can't remember if they were in front of us or behind us, but they were just like yelling and goofing off this whole movie. And it was like, I want to say it was one of the Fantastic Beasts movies. And like my dad and I are just sitting there trying to enjoy the movie, but we can't hear anything. And you know how loud a movie theater is. We couldn't hear anything because of these kids. And so, I was like, hey, can someone tell them to quiet down because they clearly aren't going to listen to us because we tried. We're like, hey, can you guys calm down? We're trying to watch this. Like,
right. You said something, they got louder.
Yeah.
Because that's how teenagers are.
Yeah. And it's just like,
No, I get that 100%.
But outside of that, I can't think of anything else. Like right this very second that like.
Okay, so
it's like consecutive sounds to go along with mouth sounds. So like if someone's clicking a pencil for 20 minutes, I'll get annoyed because it's like, okay. Or, like, I don't know. It's just like little things.
Right. Okay, so why don't you give me some of your bad habits?
I bite my fingernails way too much.
Same, dude. I don't have fingernails. I have fingernails, but I don't, I can't open a pop can.
Especially when, I'm watching something and it's, very anxiety-inducing.
Right.
Because I'm like, oh my god, what's going to happen to this character?
I think it is an anxiety stress thing. I'll bite my nails because, it happens.
Yeah. My eating habits are bad. Yeah, that's a bad habit.
Oh, yeah. Awful. I don't think I've had a salad in 2 years.
It's definitely biting my nails. What are considered bad habits?
So a bad habit, oh god, hold on, let me define a bad habit. So a bad habit is a recurring action that you do that typically provides an instant satisfaction but often leads to long-term problems. Like biting your nails. You have short nails, you can't do shit. You're not supposed to swallow them.
Yeah, people
could get diseases.
Why would you swallow your nails?
No, I bite them and then spit them out. Usually, if you piss me off, at people, but you won't know it. But otherwise, it's like in a trash can, in the grass, wherever I'm at.
I'm not trying to be like a goody two shoes, but I can't think of anything. We need to do an episode. Okay, here, future episode idea right here, right now.
Okay.
We bring the ladies on and ask them these questions about us. Like, what are some pet peeves they have toward us? What are some bad habits that we have? You know, what are some things they, what's the thing they enjoy the most? You know, things like that. Like, we can go both sides of it, but like, I think that could be fun.
This is sounding like a bonus stream next Sunday.
Potentially.
Maybe a YouTube exclusive? Like a video, a just specific video podcast of the ladies? We'll talk.
Because I can't think of anything, and I know Morgan would be like, this.
Oh,
and like I'm not saying that she's like, you do this wrong, you do that. No, she can help me point out and focus on my bad habits so that I can correct them.
Yeah, because we don't see it, but they do.
Yeah, I go to her all the time, and I'm like, how do I fix this? Like, I tell her my bad habits, but then in the moment right now, I can't think of them, and so she could tell me what they were, or what I've said to her.
Right.
What are some of your bad habits?
So I
jerk off too much.
Yeah. Junior's usually pretty raw by the time the wifey ever wants to do anything. Oh God, I'm off of my. I fidget a lot.
See, but that's something I struggle with because, like, if I don't fidget, I can feel like the energy burning and coursing through my legs, or whatever. I'm not fidgeting, and to the point where it's like painful to not fidget. So I feel like that can't, but at the same time could be viewed as a bad habit.
So I don't annoyingly fidget, if that makes sense. Like, when I'm deep in thought, or I'm thinking, or like you could be talking to me, and while I'm thinking, you'll see me like scratch my head consistently.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the bad habits. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm fidgeting with my hair, I'm not just scratching my head, or like I'm shaking my foot, which is shaking the table, which means I need to stop.
I feel attacked. I'm actively shaking my leg.
I was actively just shaking my leg. Or like while you're talking, I'll look over at my second display and figure out what I need to say next, or how I can branch off of what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it takes my main focus away from the task at hand. That's the bad habit.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, good. As long as it makes sense. All right.
Okay.
That's really it. That's all I can think of. We'll definitely have to do something.
Both of us
extra.
are basically saying we fidget too much and we both bite our nails. Those are bad habits, and we have nothing else to offer.
I itch my butthole.
Do you sniff it afterwards? Like,
no, I don't sniff it. But if I fart, I'll catch it and throw it at my wife.
Oh, you ever Dutch ovened her?
I have. She's Dutch ovened me.
Oh God.
Yeah, and it's worse. Her ass smells worse.
Oh no, I do have a bad habit, I must admit too.
Oh no.
When I'm sitting in the chair and my little sweet Delilah is laying next to me, I'll rip a fart and I'll blame it on her.
Oh no. That poor puppy.
Delilah's my little white chihuahua, for those of you that don't know.
I wasn't talking to you, asshole.
But
my dog's
9 out of 10 times I will blame her for the fart.
9 out of 10. That's a lot.
Okay, really, it's probably like 70% of the time. Okay, no. Because she's not always laying next to me. But I'll look across the room and be like, Lily, why would you do that? And oftentimes it's in a joking manner, but at the same time, I did it a little
right. Yeah, yeah. Oh, shit. All right, so let's roll on into hobbies.
You go first.
I go first?
Yeah, what are your hobbies?
I like to tinker and like DIY shit. So if something's broke, right, I'm not just gonna. My first instinct is, and this is probably a bad habit of mine, now that I'm thinking about it, instead of taking it somewhere that could do it right the first time and pay them money, I would rather be cheap about it and try to figure it out myself and potentially break it more than go and take it to the person that knows how to do it. I'll go watch the Indian man on YouTube and learn how to do it myself rather than take it somewhere and pay the extra money for it. Like fixing my cars. Now that I have a moderate idea on how to fix cars, it is now my responsibility to fix my car, and I'm not taking it to a shop unless I absolutely need to.
See, that's it's a fun hobby, but at the same time, it can cost you so much in the long run.
Well, see, I'll fix some, like, for instance, my fridge door, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a double door fridge, a French fridge, French style.
Mm-hmm.
I don't fucking know. It's a fridge, right? And well, one of the door hinges, because the doors had to be taken off for it to be moved into the house, or for me to transport it from where I got it to here.
Right.
The doors had to come off. Well, in the process, one of the hinges was missing.
Ooh.
Like, it just went missing. Hardware I still had, the hinge was gone. So, I don't know where it went. I've looked everywhere. I couldn't find it. So I made one out of a piece of sheet metal I had. I took a piece of sheet metal, I bent it the way it was, the other one was bent, and then I drilled holes in it to approximately where the bolts were, because that hinge itself isn't made anymore, and the only way you can get it is to go to the only place that even had it said that I had to bring the fridge to them, or they had to send a service tech out for me to get the part. And that was $150 on its own, or I take the thing there, and I'm not moving the fridge out of my house to take it somewhere for them to put a hinge on it.
Right.
I'm going to make my own damn hinge. Or like a battery pack I had. I don't have it anymore because it caught fire. But I fixed it with very not substantial solder and wire. It's what I had on me. It's not. I didn't go out and buy new shit. I had it. It was old. It was a fire hazard, and I knew it, but I didn't care, kind of thing.
See, that's where we differ, though. Is like you like to work on things and do it yourself, whereas I'm like, you know, we as people know our limitations and things that will frustrate us to no end, right?
Yes, like working on cars and DIYing shit.
Yes. For me, like, that is fun. I do enjoy that. Like, I'll do you know, change the brakes on the car or whatever. Like, do stuff like that. Especially if my dad's there to like walk me through the stuff that I don't know how to do.
Right.
But at the same time, like Morgan and I, we've talked off and on about like pursuing van life, where like you live out of a van and can just kind of go wherever and do whatever. And we talk about it all the time, and like we want to build a van, but at the same time, I don't want to build the van. I want to just buy the van.
Right, you want to buy the van pre-built. Just buy an RV.
Built to my our specifications, but like at the same time, I want the gratification of being like, yeah, I fucking made this with my hands. But at the same time, like running the wiring and the pipes and all that for all, like, you know, the wiring for the electricity, the pipes and stuff for the water, building the cabinetry and stuff, like it would be so rewarding to do it. But at the same time, I don't have at this very moment in time the mental capacity to fight through that frustration. Like my headspace would not stand up to that task.
Right. No, I get that 100%. So I know my limits. I know what I can and can't do by myself. I tend to go past those limits anyway because I guess I'm a masochist. I enjoy pissing myself off and getting hurt in the process.
Dude, I feel that because the van life thing, I come back to, you know what, I'm just going to fucking do it. I don't care if I make myself angry. Yeah. You know, we're on the same wavelength here, bud.
Yeah, like speaking of the van life thing, I recently started watching a whole bunch of DIY van stuff and like bus stuff, like buying a bus and renovating it to be an RV. Like I would go and buy a tour bus that has the storage underneath that I can rip out the seats on the top because gives you more storage space,
Right.
obviously. And I'm sitting there and I'm like planning out how to do it, and then I immediately get to how much I know it's going to cost me, and I'm like, we'll put that in the back burner.
But at the same time, though, like that's something I think, right? I'm like, fuck, like if I were to buy a fully built, Mercedes Sprinter van, it'd be, easily, $100,000, right? To get
Right.
the best top of the line stuff, right?
Yeah.
I want walkable solar panels on this thing so that the solar, doesn't take up 3/4 of my roof, so that I can still have a roof deck.
Right.
So that if I want to go sit up on the roof and look at the stars or whatever, I can, or do some yoga up there or whatever,
Right, and you're not going to kill the solar panels in the process.
Exactly. But at the same time, like that's more expensive than just a basic solar panel.
Right.
And so I feel you on like the price of it, because like I'm like shit, because like just to buy, like let's say you're going to go to the Mercedes dealership, right, and get a 2023 Sprinter van. The base Sprinter van is about $40,000. That's
So
not including any of the build inside.
Did you know it is the same price for the van, like if you buy a van that is furnished versus a van that isn't? Sometimes it's more to buy it without any of the furnishings in it.
Yes and no.
Because, so, like, if you go right now and you buy the Ford Transit, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go to buy your Ford Transit, and you buy it with all the seats, the rugs, the carpeting, the sound deadening, all installed.
Mm-hmm.
I think the base package is like $35,000.
Right.
Right? You remove everything but the driver, the passenger seat. Like, carpet's gone, back seat's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a van that you're going to deck out for your utility truck. $52,000.
Yeah, I get what you're saying now. I thought you were talking about like livable furnishings. I was like,
no. Like, you strip it down to its bare bones. Like, you can drive it and maybe have one passenger. That's not sketchy.
And like, why wouldn't you buy the cheaper version, right? And then sell the seats, sell the carpet.
So you could, but you couldn't at the same time.
You could definitely sell the seats.
So
100%.
You could sell the seats. The carpet, most of the time, is cut to fit.
Right, and you can at least recycle it, or take it to a place that does recycling. That sometimes, sometimes
they use it for a different vehicle if they can.
Right, and they might
or
give you a little something for it. There are places to do that.
So, I just don't understand why these companies make it more expensive to buy it with less in it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably because they know like that's this big trend to build your own stuff inside of it, so they're raising the prices on it. But even then, you would think that they would keep it a cheaper price, so you're more likely to be their option than some Mercedes Sprinter or the GM. I don't remember what van it was.
See,
one of
the if you're looking at like that type of van, like the Ford Transit, the Mercedes Sprinter, the Dodge, I forget what it's fucking called, but they're basically all the same shape. Relatively at the base, like nothing added to it, are all relatively the same price.
Relatively,
the Dodge, I think, is actually more expensive than the other two.
It's when you start making it more convenient for you to do less than you have to.
Like when I build,
that price starts going up.
When I do the whole building process on like Mercedes website or Dodge or whatever, I'm not taking the seats out. I'm like, I can fucking do that myself. I'm adding on, like the reserve fuel tank or these little things here and there, and that's where mine gets up to be like $50,000.
Right.
But at the same time, like that's something that we view, like when me and her talk about it, because that is legitimately a hobby of ours at this point in life. It's like wanting to do that. Like we watch, I personally watch much more than she does, van life videos on like YouTube. Like I'm watching this dude, the Fine Print. He games and streams out of his van. Now, is his stream 100% crystal clear 24/7? No, it will buffer from time to time because he is using Starlink. But I'm hopeful I talked to you about this the other day, that as Starlink like gets more and more, growth and stuff, it can, and as technology gets better, maybe he'll be able to pull better internet from the random places that he pulls it from and make it a steady thing. But just the fact that he can play video games in his van for 8 hours without running his batteries dead blows my mind.
Right, and that it helps having the extra battery storage with like the solar panels and shit.
He only has a 600-watt setup. And he has a tower. It's not a big, build, but he has a standalone. He used to game off of a razor blade, but now he has a tower he's built specifically tailored toward, lower power consumption, of course, but still having nice. I don't know exactly what's in. I haven't watched the actual build video of the computer, but that he has a full-on computer, like desktop computer in there.
So a desktop computer it doesn't take as much power as you think it does to run it daily.
Right.
And at the end of the day, if you're just running your internet, you're just running your computer and maybe a phone charger outside of like a camera and whatnot that's plugged into the computer, you're looking at maybe 200 watts max.
Right. But like, I'll watch people that have a similar battery setup to him, right? Mm-hmm. But they can't keep their batteries. Like their other stuff is using too much power, so they couldn't game if they wanted to. That's why I find this channel so intriguing. Is because he'll go park in the woods. He'll pull a table out of his van, set up a table, put it like, even though he has a desk set up in his van, he'll pull all his stuff out and game in the woods playing a horror game.
That's fucking spooky.
It's awesome. Like, and I was like, this is one of the things that made me talk to Morgan more about it. Is like, how cool would it be to just pop open, like a razor blade or something, and just do a podcast in the middle of the fucking mountains?
Dude, it'd be sweet.
And, it would be so cool if I could make it where I could stream consistently and have, not the best quality, but not have it buffering all the time.
Right.
That's what makes me hesitant to do it. But I also, I like routine and, traveling all the time. Now, don't get me wrong, you stay in places for a week or so, but traveling all the time, you're not necessarily going to have a consistent gym. You're not necessarily going to have consistent, meals. You're not going to have, nothing's going to be structured, right?
Right. A lot of the time you're going to be eating as you go.
Right. And I think that's kind of what scares me about it. It's like, yes, you have all this freedom, but at the same time, what do you do with yourself?
Right. So, as I'm looking at it, right? Uh-huh. If you soup up the Ford Transit, like you get the extended luxury like passenger van, the 2023 Transit passenger van XLT, the extra long version, right? And you soup it up, you get all this extra shit, whatever. You're looking at like this is saying 60,000 for a really small compact fan. Mm-hmm. That's slightly longer or moderately longer than a general van, right? Why wouldn't I just go and spend 40,000? Sometimes I've seen them go for $5,000 on a tour bus.
Yeah.
That has all the extra space. Now, mind you, if you get, I think the only difference between a CDL and a Class D license, or I'm sorry, a CDL and whatever the A or B, whatever our normal licenses are, the only difference is the air brakes. You can find a tour bus or a regular bus with disc brake, no air brakes, and be able to drive it perfectly fine.
Right.
With just your license.
See, that's something that I've also thought about, because, like, yes, having that extra space would be great, because then I could not only have a desk for me in the bus, but I could also build a desk for Morgan, right? We wouldn't have to share the same space. And we'd have more space for, like, seating if friends want to come with us on an adventure or whatever, right? Same time, I don't necessarily want to drive a bus everywhere. And you can't really take a bus down trails as easy as you could a van.
So, hear me out. The reason I would do a bus over a van, buses are built to travel long distance. Buses are built to travel tens of thousands of miles a week or more.
Mm-hmm.
You know? A van, the general upkeep and maintenance on a van is going to end up being more than that on a bus or a truck, right? Because semi-trucks and buses are built to run longer for more, or they're built to run farther for longer periods of time.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I don't personally know what like the oil change lifespan,
Right.
the brake lifespan of trucks and whatever
Right.
are, but I know that it's farther than a typical vehicle,
Right.
like a typical car or van. So not only does it give you the storage space, but you could turn it in. You could essentially make it a personalized RV.
Right.
Like if I did it, I would go and I'd buy the commercial tour van or the commercial tour bus, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd have all the storage space down below, and then I would gut the interior, and I'd put in a bathroom. I'd put in all the electrical, and that's just because I went to school for the electrical, and whenever we weren't doing anything in my class, I would go over like the HVAC and the plumbing side, and I'd learn from over there. So I'm not certified in it, but I have the general concept of how to do it, and if I don't know how to do something, I'll Google it.
Right. And
It's-
I understand that, right? I'm not saying like, no, fuck that. The idea is awesome. But at the same time, like I watched a video of one of these YouTubers where they did a 3 or 500 mile bike ride across Colorado. And some of the places that they had set up for camp, they would meet up with the vans. You're not going to get a bus into those spots. Like there's no way. And like that's some of the places that I would like to be able to go. Some things that I would like to do is that more like offer, like especially with like, you know, Morgan loves the mountains.
Right. So even then, you can't necessarily off-road with a van because they're not built for it.
There
The suspension.
are four-wheel.
There
There's one. Look up the Touareg Bruce Banner. That thing is actually fucking insane.
So if you go out and you upgrade the suspension and shit, all aftermarket parts, right? Rather than just gutting the interior and making it a livable space, obviously aftermarket parts are going to get you where you want to go.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I'm just talking purely traveling the world. I'd go with something that could travel, or that was built to travel long distance.
Right. But I mean, in the grand scheme of it, both are like the van's not meant to travel as far as a bus, but it is meant to move around, especially with how they're being built now, with seeing the market. Because like there's companies that are selling these fully built out vans as houses.
Right. It's like the tiny homes website.
Yeah. And like that's the big difference with like when deciding between like the Ford Transit versus a Mercedes Sprinter is gas versus diesel.
Right. And so if you look at it, in most cases, diesel, no matter where you go, is going to hover around $5-6 a gallon.
Yeah.
The only difference really being is what additives they're putting into it.
Right.
Like Walmart always adds that. I don't have a diesel, so I don't know. Walmart adds something that no one else adds that you don't have to add yourself, because with diesel, like in the winter, you have to add this extra additive to it.
Are you talking about the Blue Def?
No, not the Blue Def. It's fuck.
I don't know. Anyway,
it's some sort of extra lubricant because diesel self lubes.
right. Regardless.
Yeah. Anyway,
we're gonna argue back and forth on this all day.
We can't. Regardless, they're both really good options.
Yeah.
It's just personal preference over what you would want versus what you can do.
And
there are truck stops everywhere that you can park a bus. There's trails that you can go on in a normal van.
Yeah. And
there's ups and downs to both.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. You could always park the van in one area and walk and camp or whatever, right?
Right.
But if I knew I was going to spend most of my time on roads, or at least dirt roads that I knew a van could travel or a bus would travel, I would do the bus because I'd have that space and that storage and
Right.
stuff. But for like the way that her and I look at it, it's definitely more of like a van than anything because yeah, I may not be able to throw the lift kit and make it a 4-wheel drive off the rip, but down the road I definitely could.
Right, especially if you have a stable source of income on the road.
Yeah.
Which I think is the I don't necessarily know how most of these people do it unless they're doing like OnlyFans making 6 figures a year. Because
it's a lot
I
of
sit down and I look at
that I see when I watch the YouTubers. It's a lot of brand deals. Like almost every video is sponsored.
right, and I feel like somehow you need a huge. It's almost like they're pushing it to be you need a huge following in order to get these sponsors, so you can do this. It's not necessarily obtainable unless you have a source of income from the start that's going to let you travel.
But it's like a yes and no again on that one because like one of the girls that I was watching once, she or no, was it one of the guys? It was a guy. He does photography for companies, so like the brand deals he gets aren't even for like him to shout them out in a video.
It's for him to go and take the
making
pictures
content for them of like his van in this place with that attachment or whatever. Like, so it's not even necessarily having that following. He's giving them the photos to use for brand.
Right. So, like, if you and I saved up X amount of money, right, we can go and do it right now.
Right.
We could build a van. We can live for, I don't know, say we have enough money to travel for a year, right? We could do it for a year. But you and I right now on just this platform alone, we couldn't sustain ourselves. We couldn't go further than that. We would have to come back and continue our personal lives working in a job. That's if the job lets us leave for a year and come back without having to be rehired.
And that's why I've enjoyed the guy, the fine print I was telling you about. He actually works in film.
Oh, okay.
And like he's the guy when you see the people hacking on computers and stuff, he builds the software that shows on the screen. So he can literally work from anywhere, which is awesome. But at the same time, he only works 9 months out of the year anyway.
Right.
So for 3 months,
so he gets that extra time to travel. Right.
But he's lived in his van for like 4 or 5 years now.
If I want to build like a van or a bus, probably a van because that's the only thing that I would have space to store. Because with Ajax, there's a potential that with my job, there's a potential I have to travel long distance, right, to fix a machine or fix a whatever. So if I build that, not only do I save the cost of the hotel and whatever, but I can pocket what they would refund me for.
Right.
Because you pick a hotel that's in the area that they cover, and then you just claim it on your expense sheet. Right? Because I think you can claim that you lived like with a friend or family and they'll still pay you for it. That's a real gray area. I would do more research into it before I did it, obviously. But there are most places where you go and you're gone for sometimes a day, sometimes a month. Like, I got to charge 12 hours to a shift or to a job that I was there for 20 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a switch. There was a switch that was shorting everything out and blowing everything up. Yeah, I drove an hour and 40 minutes there, looked at it for 10 minutes, and fixed it in another 10, and walked out.
Nice.
And the dude was like, well, how long are you normally at work? Like, how long do you normally charge? I was like, usually like 8-10 hours. Most of the time it's 10. He was like, charge 12. Call it a day. I said, all right, cool. So I charged 12, and I got paid my per diem there, back, mileage. That was a good paycheck.
I think we need to include hobbies on the lady cast because we went on a tangent for van life for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Are we talking like our hobbies, or are we talking their hobbies?
We can do all
what they
four
think
of us.
we
We
have.
can do all four of us on that one because we didn't really get to dive into it here, and we're running out of time.
Right. Okay, so do we want to cut it here for the YouTube audience and then give it up to the questions?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Ba-dum-bum. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in, having a good time. If you want to support our podcast, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like the episode that you're watching right now. Hit that bell icon so you know when we go live, probably. And you can see when we upload this video or upload the next video. You can visit Lefty or myself down in that link below for your convenience. All of our links are there to include all the links for this podcast. It'll take you wherever you need to go.
Until next time, guys, this has been the Left on the Web podcast, and we're leaving it on the web.
God, that was crispy. I like that.
Document I go.
To the document you go, to the document I go. Oh, God, what the fuck?
Oh, God.
Jesus Christ. Oh, God.
What happened?
Oh, gee, it fucked my camera. Transform, flip that way. Jesus Christ.
You know what I'm actually going to do?
What are you going to do?
That. So now I can see the stream, which is weird, and don't necessarily want to see it. I actually don't want to see it right now, actually. Change my mind. Bring it back.
It's...
Oh, dude, you changed scenes? Oh,
yeah,
we're just...
Yeah,
oh,
I said I changed... Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, God.
This is a shit show. Oh,
today.
God.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Hey, we're live. FYI. Just so you know.
We're in shambles.
We are. All right.
It's not lined up.
Oh, God. It's so... Why is it broken?
Oh, we're in shambles.
That's good enough, right?
No.
Is that good? That's good enough.
Because you're like so significantly smaller box than mine.
No, I'm not. That's the same size box.
No, like height-wise, yeah, it's the same size, but
No.
width-wise, not even close.
Width-wise, we're the same.
It
930,
does not look the same to me.
930. Well, that's because you're fucking special.
No, I'm looking at it, bro.
So am I, bruh. I'm the one editing it.
You know what?
We're doing this live, all right?
Oh my God, we're in shambles.
Lock that. Lock everything.
Why is everything still moving? I'm stressed.
Because I'm touching it.
All right, okay.
Hands off.
Both hide under our desk. We gotta both hide under our desks, and then we can come up and start. Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's go.
All right.
Oh fuck! God, I'm corded. All right. Oh God damn it!
Hold on, chat. You guys don't know anything that's happening. The stream has just started for you.
Hold on. I gotta fix
when we pop up. Okay.
I gotta fix the fucking camera again.
Dude, what did you do?
I didn't do anything. All right.
We're in shambles.
We're fucked. Deactivate. Off. On.
We are actively in shambles.
Oh my God! All right, I'm back. All right.
All right.
Maybe.
And 3, 2,